Ardoch Algonquin First Nation lawyer Christopher Reid doesn't mince his words when talking about the First Peoples Group Report, or FPG.
It's quite shocking, actually, that a university, let alone a university like Queen's, which wants to be seen as a great institution of higher learning, that they would, at the highest levels, receive a report that is almost comically filled with errors on the central facts.
The report was released last month and says the university should rely on local Indigenous communities to verify indigeneity of new hires. It used Ardoch as an example, saying, "The Ardoch First Nation Community Services Organization is a non-for-profit corporation with letters patent issued under the Ontario Corporations Act. The AFNSC would not be recognized under reference of Nations of Tribes in Royal Proclamation of 1763. Meaning Ardoch is not a recognized First Nation but a corporation." Reid says the only problem is the corporation the report refers to is long dormant and was never a governing council of Ardoch in the first place. He also says the FPG report ignores previous court decisions.
They also claim in their report that there's simply no such thing as a non-status First Nation, that only Indian Act bands can be First Nations, which is, again, even 30 years ago, that would have been a pretty far-fetched proposition. And we know now that the courts in the last 30 years have firmly rejected that idea.
Reid says Ardoch has no problem with Queen's moving away from Indigenous self-declaration to a system that includes verification checks, but by fully endorsing the report, the university is opening the door to problematic behavior.
In which people who are Indigenous but don't have membership in an Indian Act band are being challenged by vigilantes to produce proof of their indigeneity, which is really bizarre because having an Indian Act status card is not proof of Indigenous identity at all.
Ardoch has formally voiced its concerns with the report and asked Queen's to reject it. Reid says Ardoch is considering its legal options. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.